Next, we can see about the Subphylum Vertebrata, which comes under the phylum Chordata. So, when we see about the characteristics of the Subphylum Vertebrata, it possesses the notochord during the embryonic period. Okay. So, when an embryo is developing, the vertebrates will be possessing the notochord in them, and later it will be replaced by the vertebral column in the adult. The vertebral column can be cartilaginous or it can be bony. Okay. So in the embryonic period, a notochord will be there, which will be later replaced by a cartilaginous or a bony vertebral column in the adult. Vertebral column is nothing but the backbone which is present in our body and in the other animal's body. Okay. Now, so we can say all vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. Why we say that? All vertebrates, they develop the notochord, isn't it? So all vertebrates are chordates. They have a notochord in the embryonic stage. But all chordates are not vertebrates. All chordates do not develop the vertebral column in them. Only the vertebrates will be developing the vertebral column. So all chordates are not vertebrates. Now when we see the other characteristics of these vertebrates, they possess a ventral muscular heart, and the heart can be 2-chambered or 3-chambered or 4-chambered. Then they have kidney for excretion and osmoregulation, and they are having paired appendages which may be in the form of fins or in the form of limbs. Okay, if it is aquatic organisms, they will be having the fins, or if it is the terrestrial organisms, they will be having the limbs in them. Okay. Now, when we see about the classification of vertebrates, so the subphylum Vertebrata is divided into two divisions. What are the two divisions? One is Anatha and another one is Gnathostomata. Okay. Now, what is this Anatha? A means absence, Natha means jaws. That means they do not have jaw. They lack jaw, or they are jawless fishes. We can say they are jawless organisms. Okay. So it includes the class Cyclostomata. So Cyclostomata comes under Anatha. Now the next division of subphylum Vertebrata is Gnathostomata. So Gnathostomata means gnatho, that means jaws are present in them. Okay. That means they bear jaws in them. And it is divided into two superclasses. What are the two superclasses? One is the pisces and another is the tetrapods. What are pisces? It includes all the fishes which bear the fins in them. So fins are their locomotory organ. They comes under the superclass pisces. And if the limbs are their locomotory organ, they comes under the tetrapoda. Okay. And the superclass pisces includes the classes like Contrichthys and Osteichthyes. So these are the classes, Contrichthys and Osteichthyes, and the classes which comes under the superclass tetrapoda are amphibia, reptilia, aves and mammals. Okay. So about this one by one we can see. So the first class we can see, that is Cyclostomata. Okay, the Cyclostomata, they are jawless fishes. As I told you, they are jawless fishes. They do not have jaws, isn't it? And they mainly live as ectoparasites on other organisms, other fishes, on some of the other fishes. They live as ectoparasites. Ectoparasite means, you know, they live as a parasite on the outer surface of the body of other fishes. Okay. And if you see these organisms, their body is elongated in nature. So here the two examples which you are seeing here, myxine, the petromyzon and the myxine hagfish you are seeing here, and these two, you see the body, it is long like a snake like or eel like body, isn't it? So they are having an elongated body. Yes. And what is their respiratory organ? They are having gills as their respiratory organ. They bear about 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits are there. How many? 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits are there which are used for respiration. And their mouth is sucking and circular mouth. As I told, they do not have jaws, but they are having a sucking mouth or a circular mouth is there, okay, which can also suck the food from the digested food from the host organism, okay. Then their body is covered by skin which do not have scales. The body is devoid of scales. Devoid of scales means absence of scales. They do not have scales, and they do not have paired fins also. In the fishes, if you see, they are having paired pectoral fin and paired pelvic fins are there. But here that paired fins are absent and scales are also absent. Okay. Then if you see the cranium and the vertebral column, they are cartilaginous in nature. What do you mean by cartilaginous? They are made up of cartilage. Cartilage means, you know, isn't it, soft bones. Yes, they are made up of soft bones, that is cartilaginous. Okay, so the cranium and vertebral column or the endoskeleton is made up of cartilage. Then circulation is a closed type of circulation is seen. Then the cyclostomes are naturally marine animals. Okay, even though they are marine animals, they will be migrating to the fresh water for spawning. Spawning means for their reproduction or for breeding. So for breeding, they will be moving to the fresh water. Okay, from the marine water, from the sea, they will be moving to the fresh water, and there they will lay the eggs, and after laying, spawning, after laying their eggs, they will die within a few days. Why they die? Because they used to travel such a long distance from marine water to the fresh water, and on the way they normally never eat also, and after coming to the fresh water, after breeding, after laying the eggs, they will not eat because the food available here will be different, isn't it? So normally they never take food, and as a result they die within a few days. Okay, then the egg will be hatching into the larva. Okay, it hatches into the larva, and that larva, so it do not resemble the adult one. Okay, so that larva will metamorphose, and then it will be converted into the adult one, and they move to the ocean. They will be returning back to the ocean. So here you can see this the mixin and the what hag, that is lamprey. This is the lamprey and this is the mixin. These two are the examples of cyclostomata. Okay, I hope you are able to follow this. Yes. Now next we can see about the contrichthyes. So what are contrichthyes? Contricts, that means cartilage. They are formed of chondrocytes. They are what is chondrocyte? The cells of cartilage is called chondrocytes. Okay, as they are made up of cartilage, as their endoskeleton is made up of cartilage, these fishes are called as contrichthyes, or they are included under the group called what? Contrichthyes. Okay, now when we see about the characteristic features of these contrichthyes, they are marine animals, isn't it? Normally they are marine animals. Okay, and they have streamlined bodies. What do you mean by streamlined body? That is boat shaped body. The middle part will be broad, and both the ends will be narrow. That is streamlined body. Okay, and they are having a cartilaginous endoskeleton. The endoskeleton is formed of cartilage. Okay, then the mouth is ventrally located. If you see the mouth, if you see a shark, the mouth will be ventrally located, isn't it? So this will be the anterior part. If you take this as the anterior part of the fish, and on its ventral side you can see the mouth will be present. Okay, so this is the ventral side. So we can say the mouth will be normally ventral in position. Okay, then notochord is persistent throughout the life. Even though they are having the cartilaginous endoskeleton, the notochord will be persistent. Persistent means throughout the life it is present. Okay, and they are having gill slits through which inside which the gills are present, which helps in respiration, but the gill slits are not surrounded by operculum. Okay, the gill slits are separate, but they are not surrounded by a cover called operculum. Operculum means the cover which covers the gills in bony fishes. Okay, then the skin, if you see, it is very tough in nature, and it contains minute scales called placoid scales. Okay, placoid scales means what? They are feather-like, somewhat spiny like, or we can say plate-like. Instead of feather-like, we can say it as plate-like scales are there. Okay, the plate-like scales will be seen. It gives the tough appearance or a tough nature to the skin of these fishes. Okay, so plate like scales are there, that's why it is placoid scales are present, and the teeth which is present in these fishes are the modified placoid scales, which will be positioned backwardly, which will be directed backwardly. Okay, and their jaws are very much powerful in nature, and that's why they are predaceous animals. They are predators, isn't it? They will be eating upon the other animals. Okay, they are predaceous. That means they eat upon the other animals. Other animals means what? Other fishes which are present in the aquatic medium. Okay, then they do not have an air bladder. Air bladder is absent. So because of the absence of this air bladder, they should swim constantly in the water to avoid them from sinking. Otherwise, if they are not swimming, they will be sinking into the water. Okay, so to avoid sinking, they have to constantly swim due to the absence of air bladder. Then the heart is two chambered, one atrium and one ventricle, or one auricle and one ventricle is present. So here the impure blood or deoxygenated blood will be circulated through this heart chambers. Okay, then they are poikilothermic animals. What do you mean by poikilothermic? That means they are cold-blooded animals. Cold-blooded animals means they do not have a constant body temperature. They have to change the body temperature according to the surrounding environment. So that we say it as cold-blooded or poikilothermic animals. Okay. Then sexes are separate, and in males, if you see, they are having claspers. Okay, the pelvic fin will be bearing claspers which are responsible for transferring the gametes from the males to the females. That structure is called what? Claspers. Okay, so in males the pelvic fins will be bearing clasper. Pelvic fin means, you know, the fins which are present near to the hip region, that is towards the tail in the fishes. Okay, pectoral means towards the head region. That is, for us the shoulder forms the pectoral and our hip forms the pelvic. Okay, so in the fishes, in the pelvic fins will be bearing the claspers. Then the fertilization is generally internal fertilization. Inside the female body, the fertilization takes place, and they are viviparous. Viviparous means they give birth to young ones. Okay, they give birth to young ones. So examples, if you see, scoliodon is there, sawfish is there, okay, trigon, stingray, or electric ray is there. Okay, see, some of the fishes have electric organs in them. Okay, these electric organs, see, if you see, here you can see these are the fishes which are having the electric organs in them. So near the pectoral fin, we can see these electric organs, actually the modification of the nervous tissue which is capable of conduction of electricity. Okay, so just like how the nerve impulse is conducted in our body, just like that the nerve impulse will also be conducted in the electric organs, which will be generating electricity, and because of that electricity they can stun the prey or the predators. Okay, that is enemies coming nearby or the prey which is present there, they can be stunned by the electric field which is created by this electric ray. Okay, which will be there to a little extent. Okay. Yes, then some others, see here, this is the stingray which you are seeing. This is the stingray. This stingray, if you see, it is having, see here a long tail is there, isn't it? This tail is having a sting in it. So poisonous fluid can be passed on through the sting, and it enters the prey or the predator or the enemies where it is stinging. Okay, to escape from their enemies or to catch their prey, they use this sting. Poisonous sting can be used. Okay, then the above one is the shark that you all are familiar with. So these are the examples of this Chondrichthyes. So next is the Osteichthyes. So Osteichthyes, from the name itself we can see they are their endoskeleton is formed of bones. Okay, so they are having a bony endoskeleton, and osteich means bones, and they are formed of cells called osteocytes. Okay, and it include marine as well as freshwater fishes, not like Chondrichthyes generally are marine fishes, but here it includes marine as well as the freshwater fishes, and they are having the bony endoskeleton, that is all the bone skeletal structures which are present inside their body is bony in nature. Okay, then the body is streamlined. If you see, the body is streamlined, middle part is broad and the end is narrow, that is boat shaped. Then the mouth is terminal in position. Okay, in Chondrichthyes it is ventral in position, in Osteichthyes it is terminal. The mouth will be terminal in position. Okay, then they are having 4 pairs of gills for respiration, and the gills are covered by operculum. So the covering of the gills is called operculum. So on either side an operculum is present which covers the gills. Okay, and the skin is covered with the scales. The scales are cycloid or ctenoid scales. Cycloid, from the name we can say somewhat circular or round in nature, and the ctenoid we can say it is somewhat spine like structure. Okay, so the scales are cycloid or ctenoid in nature. Based on the shape only it is named differently as placoid or cycloid or ctenoid scales. Okay, then these fishes are having an air bladder in them. So air will be stored in them, so they can float in water. Okay, so it can regulate buoyancy. Buoyancy means it can balance in water bodies. It can float in the water body due to the presence of air bladder in them. Okay, and that is even without swimming also it can balance for some time in a place. In a particular place it can balance, it can stand still there. Okay, then heart is 2 chambered, one auricle and one ventricle is present in the heart. Then they are also cold blooded animals or poikilothermic animals. They cannot change their body temperature. They can change their body temperature according to their environment. Okay, they can change their body temperature according to their environment. If they are not able to change their body temperature, they may not be able to survive. Okay, then the sexes are separate. Okay, the sexes are separate. Then fertilization is external, that is the gametes will be released into the external water where the fertilization can take place, and they are oviparous animals. Okay, mainly they are oviparous. What do you mean by oviparous animal? They are egg laying animal. Ovi means egg. Okay, ovum, ovi-laying, that is egg laying animals. Then their development is direct. That means egg will be hatching into a young one which resembles the adult one. Okay, so many examples are there. So these are some of the examples of fishes. Okay, the butterfly fish or the molly fish. Okay, so these are some, only a few fish I could keep here. So flying fish is there, hippocampus, that is seahorse is there, or even freshwater. See above one is the cutla, that is the freshwater fish, or mrigal is there. Then the aquarium fishes like the fighter fish is there, or angel fish is there, or goldfish. So like that, so many types of fishes are there. All this comes under the class Osteichthyes. Okay, now next is the class Amphibia. So amphi means dual or both. Bia means life. Bio means life, isn't it? It can live both on land as well as on water. That's why they are named as what? Amphibians. Okay, They can live in aquatic medium as well as in the terrestrial medium. They are capable of surviving. That's why they are named as amphibians. Okay. Then they are having two pairs of limbs. Okay, with the help of these two pairs of limbs. See, in the previous two classes we have seen they are having fins, which can be used for locomotion. But here they are not having fins, but they are having limbs. Two pairs of limbs are there for locomotion, and the body is divided into head and trunk. And if you see the skin, uh, body is divided into head and trunk, but what about the tail? Tail is absent, but in some species only it will be present, like a salamander it is present, but in others it is absent. Okay, so body is divided only into head and the trunk. Then the skin, if you see the skin is moist. They do not have scales, but it is moist. Why it is moist? It is due to the presence of a mucus gland. Okay, so the mucus gland is present, which secretes mucus, which is a slimy substance which will be slippery in nature. Okay, so due to the presence of that slimy substance, the skin will be always moist in nature. Okay, then the eyes are having eyelids, that is a nictitating membrane is present in them. Then the ear, they do not have an ear, but a tympanum is present. What is present? A tympanum is present. Tympanum is the eardrum or a membrane. Okay, that represent the ear in the case of amphibians. Then the alimentary canal, that is the digestive system. The urinary canal, that is the excretory system. Then the reproductive tract, the reproductive system will be opening into a common chamber called the cloaca. Okay, so cloaca is a common chamber in which the alimentary canal, the urinary system and the reproductive system will be opening, and this cloaca will be opening to the exterior, to the outer side it will be opening. Okay, then if you see the respiratory organ, gills, lungs and skin are the respiratory organ. So the larval forms, the tadpole is the larva of frog. It lives in water. That larva will be using gills as the respiratory organ, and on land the adult frog, they will not have the gills, they will be having the lungs. So they respire using the lungs as well as the skin. The skin will be moist. On land also it can respire. Okay, through the moist skin the air can diffuse. The moist skin will be richly supplied with the blood vessels, so the blood, the oxygen can diffuse in and can combine with the blood. Okay, and thus it can be transported. So we can say they are having gills, lungs and skin as their respiratory organs. Okay, the heart is three-chambered. So here heart is three-chambered, which is having two auricles and one ventricle is present. They are also cold-blooded animals or poikilothermic animals. Then the sexes are separate male and females are there. Fertilization is external. In the water, in the surrounding water, the gametes will be released where the fertilization takes place. Okay, and the development is indirect. They are oviparous animals and development is indirect. So oviparous means they are egg-laying animals. Then development is indirect. That means larval stage is there. Okay. Examples you can see here. Buffo is there. Hyla is there. Buffo is the toad. Hyla is the tree frog. Then salamander. Okay. So this is the salamander, which is the tree. Tailed frog. Okay. And the limbless is there. Ichthyophis. So here this you can see just like a worm like, isn't it? So this is Ichthyophis, that is a limbless amphibia, that is it is not having any limbs. Okay, next is the class Reptilia. Okay, so Reptilia is a it means creeping or crawling animals. Okay, repere, it came from the Latin word repere or reptum, that means to creep or to crawl. Okay, so these are creeping or crawling organisms. That's why the name is given as Reptilia, and mainly they are terrestrial. Okay, mainly these are terrestrial in nature, but aquatic organisms are also there. Okay, the body is covered by dry and cornified skin. Okay, it is covered by dry and cornified skin. So the skin is very dry and cornified. Cornified means cornification occurs. That is, the cells will die and then a layer of dead cells, cornocytes, will be formed. That is, dead cells will be formed. A layer of dead cells will be formed, and why it is formed is it acts as a barrier, as a protective layer it acts. Okay, so the skin, the body will be covered by dry and such cornified skin. Okay, then it is also having epidermal scales or scutes on their body, scutes that are spiny like plate like or spiny like structures will be there on their body surface. Okay, then they do not have a external ears, only tympanum is present. Okay, external ear is not there, only tympanum is present. Then limbs, if they are having limbs, they are two pairs of limbs are there. Snake is not having a limb, isn't it? But when present, they are having two pairs of limbs. Then the heart is usually three-chambered, but exception is there. In crocodiles, it is four-chambered. In all the others, it is three-chambered heart, two auricles and one ventricle is there. But in crocodile, four-chambered heart is present. And the reptiles are poikilothermic organisms. That means they are cold-blooded animals. They do not have a constant body temperature. Then snakes and lizards will be shedding their scales as a skin cast. You might have seen that the snake skin cast will be there. So their skin they will be removing whenever it is very hard and formed of more dead cells. Then they will be removing that. Okay, so that we can say it as skin cast. As skin cast, they will be shedding their skins. Okay, then sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal, and they are oviparous animal. Oviparous means egg laying animal, and development is direct. There is no larval stage. The young one which is hatching out of the egg will be similar to that of the adult one. Okay, examples, so many examples are there. We can say turtle or tortoise, chameleon, garden lizard, crocodile, alligator, wall lizard, snakes. Okay, so these all are examples of reptiles. Okay, next is the aves. Aves means birds. All the birds are included under this class called aves. Okay, now what characteristics, features are there? We can say they have feathers, isn't it? When we see their body, the body is covered by feathers. They are having feathers, one of the specialized or important characteristic features of this aves. Okay, and they can fly. Most of the birds can fly, isn't it? Except the flightless birds like ostrich or kiwi, they cannot fly. All others can fly. So most they are having feathers. That is, the body is covered by feathers, and most of them can fly except the flightless birds like ostrich and kiwi. Now they have a beak. They possess beak. So you know the beak is modified part of the mouth, isn't it? So they are having beak. Then they are having two pairs of limbs. In that the four limbs are modified into wings. Okay, the four limbs are modified into wings for flying. The hind limbs are having scales in them and are modified for walking, swimming, or clasping to the tree branches. When they fly, they come and take rest on the tree branches. For that, to clasp the tree branch, it is used. Okay, so the four limbs are modified into wings for flying, and the hind limbs are modified for walking, swimming, or even clasping. Okay, and they generally have scales also in their hind limb. Okay, then the skin is dry without any glands, except they are having an oil gland. Okay, so they have an oil gland at the base. Where is it present? At the base of the tail. You might have seen the birds pricking the tail region and applying that oil on the feathers. You might have watched also, isn't it? So oil gland is present only at the base of the tail. Otherwise, they do not have the oil gland, so the skin will be dry in nature. Then the endoskeleton is fully bony in nature. No cartilage, especially it is fully ossified. Ossified means what? It is made up of bone. That is the meaning of ossified. And the long bones are hollow in nature and they are having air cavities in it, that we say it as pneumatic. Pneumatic means the bones, hollow bones filled with air. Why the hollow bones and the air cavities are there? In order to reduce the weight of the bird so that they can fly. Okay. Then the digestive tract is having other additional chambers like the crop and the gizzard. Crop is the part just like our stomach where the food can be stored, and gizzard is the part where the food can be grinded and powdered and digested. Okay. Then heart is four-chambered, and four-chambered means they are having two atrium or two auricles and two ventricles are present. Okay. So heart is four-chambered. Then they are warm-blooded animals, or we can say it as homeothermous animals. Homeothermous means they are a warm-blooded, that is they are having a constant body temperature and they do not change the body temperature. They are able to maintain a constant body temperature. Then respiration is through the lungs. They do not have gills. Respiration takes place through the lungs. Then air sacs are connected to the lungs, which can supplement respiration. Okay, air sacs connected to lungs supplement respiration. That means lungs are connected with the air sacs where it will be filled with the air that can also help in respiration. Okay, then sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. They are oviparous animal, that is egg laying animal, and development is direct. Direct means the young one will resemble the adult one. Okay. Now examples of this, you can see different varieties of birds. Corvus, that is crow, Columbia or pigeon, or Psittacula, parrot, or ostrich, pavo, peacock, or penguin, vulture, etc. These all are different varieties of birds. Okay. See here you can see this ostrich and this kiwi birds. They are not normally able to fly. Others are capable of flying. Okay. Now we can see about the last class, that is mammalia. So we all belong to mammals, isn't it? So about that we can see. So what are the characteristic features of this mammalia? See, mammalia, based on the presence of mammary glands, they are given the name mammalia. Okay. Yes. Now, if you see, they are found in a variety of habitat, isn't it? In a lot of habitat you can see them, where you can see in ice cap mountains, ice covered mountains you can see, or desert, mountains, forest, grassland, even in caves which is very dark in nature. Okay, in grasslands, everywhere we can see these mammals. Okay, and some of them you can see living in water, or some of them are even adapted to fly in the air also. Okay, and the most unique and important characteristics of this mammals are the presence of what? The mammary gland. They are having the mammary gland. So what is the use of this mammary gland? It secretes the milk which is used to feed the young ones. Okay, so these mammary glands are the milk producing glands by which they can feed the young ones. Okay, then they are having two pairs of limbs. Okay, the limbs are adapted for various purposes like walking, running, climbing, burrowing, swimming, flying, etc. According to the nature of the organism, the functions will be differing. Okay, so for all this, the limbs are used. Now, when we see the skin of these mammals, the skin possesses hair. The skin contains water, hair, isn't it? All mammals, even including human beings, if you see, our skin also contains water, hair. That is another unique feature of this mammals. Okay, then these mammals are having external ears called pinna. Okay, externally we can see the part of the ear that we can say it as pinna. So pinna is present. Then these organisms will be having different types of teeth. Okay, in the jaw, their teeth are present, located in the jaw. Like in our body, if you see incisors, canines, premolars, and molars are there, isn't it? So different types of teeth are present in the mammal's jaw. Okay, then heart is four-chambered. What are the four chambers? Two atrium and two ventricle. So heart is four chambered. Then they are homeothermous animals. That means they are having a constant body temperature. They can maintain a constant body temperature, or we can say they are warm blooded animals. And which is the respiratory organ? Lungs or the respiratory organ. Then the sexes are separate. Okay, and fertilization internal means inside the female body it occurs. Fertilization means, so the diffusion of male and female gametes. Then they are viviparous. Viviparous means they give birth to young ones, and development is direct. Direct means the zygote will be developing into a young one which resembles the adult. Okay, so these are the characteristic features of mammals. And example, if you see, a lot of examples are there. There are oviparous mammals. See here, you can see some oviparous mammals are there. This is echidna, and this is duck-billed platypus. These are oviparous animals, oviparous mammals. Okay, then viviparous are there. If you take kangaroo, this is viviparous, but the young one is not fully developed, so it will be keeping it in its pouch. Okay, then so many other animals like the camel, the flying fox, or the rat or cat or elephant, horse, dog, or the aquatic form like dolphins, whales, or the flying form like bat. Okay, or even the carnivorous, top carnivorous animals like tiger, lion, etc. So all these animals are the animals which comes under the group called the class called mammalia. Okay, so that is about mammals. So this is about the animal kingdom. Okay, I hope you might have understood this.